The art of making fresh pasta. Everyone loves fresh pasta. Homemade fresh pasta called 00 wheat flour and eggs. Fresh pasta is ideal for a porous texture and coarse, thick sauce, and factory-made dry pasta with semolina flour and water is completely different. Hello friends. Welcome back to my channel. Want to make fresh pasta from scratch? You are in the right place. This video outlines everything you need to make authentic fresh pasta at home. It's easier than it sounds, we promise. Let's discover the art of making fresh pasta. In terms of ingredients, making fresh pasta is actually incredibly simple. All you need is flour and eggs. The same goes for equipment. For our fresh pasta dough recipe, you don't need a pasta machine, just a few common kitchen utensils, and a clean work surface. Want to impress your friends and family with your pasta making skills, or host your own fresh pasta-fueled Italian dinner? With a few ingredients, no fancy machines, and a little patience and a willingness to learn, you can make your own pasta at home to serve with your favorite sauce. Making your own pasta is not only exciting and delicious, it's also very simple to prepare. Watch till the end, if you are curious. Making your own homemade pasta is a simple process. Once you learn how to mix, knead, and roll fresh pasta dough, you can quickly make your own pasta at home. Let's begin. Types of pasta. When it comes to making pasta, there are many types that you can choose from. Rustic pasta includes rigatoni, pen, shells, fusilli. Fine pasta includes linguine, fettuccine, angel hair, perhaps the most delicate. Making pasta from scratch can be challenging at first, but after some practice and with the right technique, homemade pasta can become an easy way to elevate a pasta recipe. And the best part? It only requires a few simple key ingredients: flour, eggs, salt, water, and olive oil. Pasta for 2 servings or 4 small servings. 300 g all-purpose flour or 00 Italian pasta flour. 5 large eggs, 2 eggs and 3 egg yolks. 50 grams of salt. 1 tablespoon of virgin olive oil or butter for boiling. Other equipment: a food scale, a pasta machine or KitchenAid pasta attachment. Optional, a food processor. When you eat a soup that contains pasta, the soup can be easily eaten by grabbing the pasta with a spoon. When you're eating soup, you don't want something long and your spoon hanging on both. Soup kinds of pasta are so small that they are great to use in pasta salads as well. Whole wheat pasta is made from whole grains that contain fiber and additional nutrition. However, whole wheat pasta has a very different flavor and sometimes a rustic texture than regular pasta, so you should choose a sauce that is firmer than usual. Nutritionally, pasta made from wheat flour and bean flour is a complete protein. The dough. Let's talk about measurements first. If you're not a pro, the right ratio of ingredients is extremely important in making a delicious and easy-to-work dough. A general rule of thumb is to add 300 g of flour to 185 g of wet ingredients. 1. Put a pot on a scale. Break 2 large eggs in the bowl and add 3 separate egg yolks. After this, add water until the scale shows 185 g. Whisk lightly to mix. Take a separate bowl and measure 300 grams of flour. Add 1 teaspoon of salt and mix well. In the art of pasta making, the technique is key. A modern shortcut to making pasta is to mix the ingredients in a food processor. However, the old-school method of mixing dough by hand has a special feel to it and can be quite a bit of fun once you get the hang of it. Your first instinct might be to mix everything in a bowl, but mixing with pasta happens directly on the table. Make sure your work surface is clean and has enough space to knead the dough. 2. Start by pouring the flour onto the surface, making it into a small mound. Make a hole in the center by pressing gently on the top. Your mound should now look like a small volcano. 3. Slowly pour the liquid mixture into the cavity. Some liquid coming out of the hole during this part is inevitable. You can scrape the liquid back into the flour. Begin folding the dough into the cavity, always starting from the outer edges and bringing it to the center. 4. When the dough is mixed by hand or in a food processor, it should still be a little sticky and wet. Grab a small piece from the side and continue the technique of folding it to the center and start kneading for a minute. Use pressing and rolling motions. If the flour is still sticking to your hands and the surface after a minute, knead in 1 tablespoon of flour. Continue kneading and after another minute decide if it needs more. 5. Keep the dough for 10 minutes until completely mixed and like dough. When it comes to kneading, more is better than less. Tip: the pasta dough should feel firmer than your regular bread dough. Go with small folding motions rather than trying to fold the entire dough in half, as it won't stick together as easily as other doughs. Work the dough with your flat palms and try not to break the surface with your fingertips. 6. The dough should now look smooth and round. Wrap it in plastic wrap and leave it at room temperature for 30 minutes. Pasta sheets. For the next part, you will need a pasta machine, a pasta kitchen attachment, or a rolling pin. For these instructions, we will use a pasta machine. The goal is to make the dough sheet mm. 7. Prepare the work surface by covering it with flour to prevent the pasta sheet from sticking to the table. 8. Divide the dough into 4 parts with a knife and cover the other parts with plastic wrap and wait for rolling. 9. Flatten the piece you are working with until it is as thick as a pancake with your hands or a rolling pin. 10. Using the flat, toothless press, set the machine to level 1. Numbers should appear on the rotary handle. Feed the sheet through. To create a rectangular shape, fold the rounded sides like a letter, add flour, and feed again. Keeping the first setting, repeat the process until you are satisfied with the square shape. Tip: use one hand to pull the sheet out and the other hand to turn the handle. 11. Once you're happy with the shape, start pressing the muzzle, working your way up from setting to setting. Feed the sheet through the press once or twice, one setting at a time. Remember to add flour to the surface of the sheet through the process. Once you reach level 6, the sheet should be thin enough. If the sheet is too long to handle easily, cut it in half. 12. Once you have rolled all your sheets to a satisfactory thickness, leave them to dry until the surface feels like leather. Flip and repeat on the other side. Drying should take 15 to 30 minutes depending on the humidity of the place. Tip: if you have guests coming over, it might be a good idea to prepare the pasta the day before. In this case, you can dry the pasta slightly, wrap the sheets between sheets of baking paper and plastic wrap, and place the sheets in your refrigerator to wait until the next day. Cut it into shape. The next step in the recipe is to cut the pasta into your desired shape. The egg-based pasta dough made in this recipe tastes best when used for thin pasta designs, e.g. ribbon shapes or ravioli. Pasta can be cut into ribbons by using a pasta cutter press or using a knife. 13. With the machine, take the sheet and simply feed it through the cutter of the machine. 14. With a knife, take the longest opposite sides of the sheet and roll them towards the center until the two rolls touch. Start cutting pieces horizontally from the rolled sheet like a cinnamon roll. Adjust the width of the piece to how wide you would like your pasta ribbon to be. Each piece should be folded into a long ribbon. Boiling point. Finally comes the pasta boiling. Fresh pasta cooks in less time than regular dried pasta you buy at the store. This means that the pasta takes much less time to absorb the salt, and making fresh homemade pasta requires more salt than you would normally put into the water. 15. Add salt to taste and set a kettle to boil. Since the water needs more salt than normal pasta, we recommend a ratio of 10 to 11 grams per liter. Add 1 tablespoon of oil or butter to the water. When the water boils, add the pasta and cook for 1 to 2 minutes. How to serve homemade pasta. Fresh homemade pasta can be used in place of dry pasta in any pasta recipe. For the best flavor, cook your fresh pasta in a large pot of salted boiling water until al dente, then use tongs to place the pasta directly into the sauce. If you really want to spice up your effort, stick to simple sauces like pesto, brown butter, sage, or cacio e pepe. Homemade pasta dough is the best way to experience stuffed kinds of pasta like ravioli and agnolotti, as fresh fillings like ricotta cheese can't stand up to drying or freezing. Enjoy! Thank you for watching. Follow for more.